Okay, so picking up where we left off, Sue and I living in the little white trash trailer park on Highland Avenue in San Bernardino, and I'm enrolled at the San Bernardino Valley College, uh, taking some prerequisite courses to the respiratory therapy program. uh, Sue is working at Del Taco. Del Taco, man, if you're ever out to California way and you want some good burritos, you got to go to Del Taco. So meager wages she's making, but getting me through school, that's good. So there's a lot of pressure on her, and sometimes I'd come home and she's kind of freaking out. She would get into these anxiety attacks, hyperventilating, and I didn't know what to do. I would take her to the hospital. They would do nothing. They basically they treat these gals like they're just bad, nutcases. They'd pull the curtain around her and just she'll calm down after a while. And I was she was going through this, and I was going through it with her. Having to try to figure this thing out. I would come home. Sometimes I'd catch her reading some of my medical books from my studies, and then she'd manifest some of these diseases, symptoms or whatever. She thinks she's all now got this or that, and so I'm not sure what's going on, but got to get it figured out, especially this hyperventilating thing because it was freaking her out and freaking me out, and I wasn't handling it well. So I was a respiratory therapist. I'm going, there's got to be uh, an answer to this. So I thought about, okay, what's going on physically in her body when she's hyperventilating, when a person hyperventilates. So, when we breathe, part of the breathing is to bring in oxygen, oxygenate the blood. Blood goes to feed the cells. The cells combust the oxygen, and the byproduct of that is carbon dioxide. And the body's pretty good at maintaining a normal carbon dioxide level in the blood. If that gets out of balance, it affects the acidosis or alkalinity, the pH of the blood. And when somebody hyperventilates, their blood becomes alkalotic because when you have the way the CO2, when it's in the blood, it's actually acting as an acid when it combines with other components. And it's been too long since respiratory therapy, but so I won't try to get into too much depth because I'll probably make some errors. But we know that when she's hyperventilating or anybody's hyperventilating, they're getting rid of too much CO2 and it makes you feel horrible. So I'm told. I've never tried it myself. So I put enough thought to it. I said, okay, I think I've got it figured out, and it's this. So let's say you're hyperventilating. I would come up to you and go, okay, look, we're gonna get you calmed down here. I just want you to, do this little breathing exercise. And they're riding the rail, and it's really hard initially to get them to go through this scenario I developed. Said, look, you're not getting enough oxygen. Now that's a lie, but I'm going to tell them that because that's what most people know breathing is for. Got to breathe so I can get oxygen. You're breathing too much. You're getting too much oxygen. We're going to slow your breathing down. So what we're going to do is I'm going to encourage that person to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and hold it as long as you can. And initially, they won't be able to hold it very long. They'll blow it out, and I'll go, okay, that was good. It was only 2 or 3 seconds, but that's good. Let it all the way out. And when you're ready, I want you to take another deep breath because we got to get that oxygen built up. Another lie. You got plenty of oxygen. Got to get rid of some CO2. So they now hold it longer this time. Hold it. And each time they'll be able to hold it a little bit longer. And the reason is their CO2 is building up and they're no longer feeling desperate. And I don't quite understand the cycle, but it just feeds on itself. They blow off the CO2 and it makes them feel weird. So they breathe even faster. So this is an exercise where you're, one, unlike breathing into a paper bag, which a lot of hospitals probably still practice that, have them breathe in a paper bag. What happens with that? You breathe in a paper bag, try it. Pretty soon, you have no oxygen in there that you're breathing. You're just breathing all your old stale air. So now, not only is the person gotten rid of too much CO2, but now they're driving their oxygen down as well. And that's just the most horrible thing you'd want to be doing to somebody that's already freaking out, is to make them hypoxic. So I tried this out on my wife, and it worked. And the first time is a struggle because she's not trusting me. She thinks I'm messing with her or whatever. But finally got her talked down. And each time we did that, it became easier because she now knew that, okay, she can do this, and she would be able to handle it herself if she needed to. And I actually eventually took this into the hospitals wherever I was working. About respiratory therapy, you need to come down. We've got a young lady down here. She's hyperventilating. She's freaking out. And bring a paper bag. And I go, well, I'm coming down, but I'm not going to bring no paper bag. They say, why not? And I said, it's not in the policy and procedure manual. And I'd go down there and I'd pull the curtain and we'd go through the routine. And, within 10, 15 minutes, I'd have her talked down. And by and large, this was a female deal. I never had a case of the man coming in. And I think it's just because a lot of these young gals are put under a lot of stress, just in the same way that I was putting her under stress. She's having to work, trying to, just make these meager wages, try to make work as many hours as she can so that I can go to school. Yeah, eventually, we got her into a nurse's aid program. Once I got employed and was making some decent money that allowed her to leave Del Taco so that she could go through schooling. And every hospital, I traveled from California to several hospitals in California. They all had the same silly policy. Houston, same thing. And even Mena, Arkansas, same thing. Bring the paper bag. And so each of the places I work, I kind of corrected that. Hopefully, the policy, stayed in place and no more paper bags. So let me see. Another thing that I don't know if it's her birthday or something, but I bought her a skateboard. I thought, man, we live here in this, Colton, California. Now there's sidewalks. We could maybe do some skateboarding up and down the sidewalks. So I got her a skateboard. I got me a nice skateboard too, a Hobie, and we started hitting the skate park. Man, there was these awesome giant concrete skate parks that they were building at the time in the 70s, And you know, we were having a good time, and I got to looking around though after a while. You know, we'd have our falls and stuff and get skinned up, and I'd see guys showing up, they're skating and they got broken arms and stuff, and I go, Sue, I think with this sport here, the better you get, the more dangerous the sport becomes. Unlike a lot of other sports, the better you get, it's safer it becomes. And so we kind of hung that up and fortunately found racquetball. And man, she became a really good racquetball player. We'd be playing with my brother and his wife, and all the people would meet at the club, and she could whoop any of the guys as well as could Larry's wife. Very good racquetball players. And so, you know, after a while, I asked Susie about, hey, what's happened with the anxiety attacks? And she says, I don't know. They just don't come around anymore. And I kind of attribute it to probably the physical activity, just confidence that gives a person, as well as just a better physical uh, level of fitness, and probably has an impact. So yeah, that was a little thing that we went through and got it figured out, and never a problem again. All right, well, just wanted to cover that little ditty, and really, if you're got someone that's dealing with that issue of hyperventilating, anxiety attacks, um, try it. It's a simple little procedure. You know, I even, uh, you know, I had Susie, treated her with that. That treated at least a half dozen gals in various hospitals that were, you know, came in, and I would have the opportunity to talk them down with that. But I also had incidents too that was just out in the general public. One was one of the gals on our soccer team in high school. I was the trainer, you know, the guy that took care of wrapping ankles, nosebleeds, whatever would come up, you know, bandage this, bandage that. Well, we had played a game. It was, I can't remember if it was a home game. It doesn't matter. But I looked over at the school bus because, you know, game was kind of getting close to being over, and I'm going to start putting some stuff in order. And I look over there, and there's a gal, one of our gals, soccer player. She's uh, leaning up against the tire, sitting on her butt. I go over to see what the problem is. Maybe she's upset about something or whatever. No, I could see she's freaking out. She's hyperventilating. I said, I'm gonna I'm gonna get you to stand up, and we're gonna get you calmed down, okay? And I take her through the procedure, and pretty rapidly, you know, had her settle down. And you know, she was embarrassed. And I said, nothing to be embarrassed. I went through this with my wife. She's had that. Now you know the exercise. You can treat yourself and never have to deal with this again. And hopefully that was the case with her. She was a sweet, sweet gal. Um, Another incident was at a funeral, uh, and it was a young gal there. We were at the funeral, and there was a young gal that, you know, just started freaking out and getting real emotional, and pretty soon she's hyperventilating and she's having an anxiety attack, and you know, her mother or whoever's said, and she's has these all the time. I wish I knew what to do, blah blah blah. And so I talk her down, and oh my God, they just blessed me, and and so that's a good thing, you know, that I like to remember, that hopefully a few people are carrying on with that knowledge. And apparently, it's not any of the medical books. I ought to write a book on it, I guess. So yeah, we'll let that go uh, at that, and catch you next time. Bye bye.